Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome. I hope you've got your coffee. I've got mine here. This is actually my second cup of coffee. Yeah, I'm ready to go. And I see we've got a few early birds here as well. Hopefully, a few others. Well, doesn't matter how many more join us because it is what it is. And, the weather's been nice, so people are probably out having a morning walk. Yeah, that's what I choose to believe. So I'm just checking my monitor here to make sure. Yep, everything's working out fine right there. So you can see me and you can hear me, and that's all good. So let's see who's joined us so far. Well, number one was today was Caroline. Good morning, she says, and I say good morning to you, Caroline. And Christina is here too, all the way. Christina, I'm assuming you're still over in Sweden. So it's later, much later there than it is here. And Dubrovka, all the way from Timmins. She's got her coffee made and she's ready for a good chat. Dubrovka, is Al there with you too, or is Al still in bed like my other half is? Gloria is here, and Liz, it is. First live. Oh, well, welcome, Liz. Glad you could make it. And Jen is here as well. And let's see, Karen B is here too. It says good morning to everybody. And Chris is here. So we've got a few people here, and there'll probably be a few more come in as time goes by. I know it's early for those of you out in the West Coast, and it's very late for you across the ocean. So yeah, time zones. What can you do? We just have to live with them. Shadowwind's here. Hello, Shadowwind. So, got my coffee. Lots of this, that, and everything to talk about. Some things to show you today, too, as well, from our weekend. This was the big Pride weekend in Toronto. It's been Pride Month, all Toronto, and it is a lot in North America. June is the big month for Pride, although some places around, they don't celebrate it until later into the summer, and some go right into the fall. So, but I do have some shots. We went in Saturday. The parade is on Sundays. It's a zoo. You don't want to go into Toronto, downtown Toronto, on Pride Sunday, because there's like 1.7 million people, they said, were there this year. So, and every year it just gets bigger and more of a zoo. So we've had Not at Home just joined us. Good morning, Not at Home. And Dubrovka says, oh, Al is still in heaven sleeping. Okay, glad you put the sleeping part in there. Yeah, got a little worried. Okay, so that's morning babble. Let's move on to what I would like to show you. First of all, well, I want to show you just a sneak peek, and I'll just try to get it up here. My in Japan, I was going to call it my Indian. It's my Japan quilt. It's coming along. I have the blocks all made. Now I have decided to put sashing in it. And this sashing is a little bit different. It looks sort of like maple leaves, but they're not. They're some form of leaf, but it's Japanese fabric. I bought it in Tokyo, or did I buy that? Yeah, I bought that in Tokyo. So it's coming along. My thoughts right now are using what you see for the sashing on that first row. I'll do that on all the rows and all the way around the outside row and top and bottom, and that'll be an inner border. And then I've got another fabric I haven't yet used that's that I bought in Japan that I'm going to use as a little wider outside border, and then it'll all be together. But I have been working on a lot of projects lately, and I keep adding to the pile. I've got a thing on my embroidery machine right now that I was working on before we went live, and it is a winter piece. It is a table runner. I got this pattern from, I think it's either, yeah, I think it's Sweet Pea. And I did have some people in mind to give this table runner to. I'm not really sure if that's who I'm going to give it to or what. We'll see how it turns out. I'm not going to show you any parts of it yet today, or even tell you what the title is. I'm saving that for the Idiot Quilter tomorrow. And I'm also saving for the Idiot Quilter the next quilt I've started on. Yeah, I don't know about you, but I didn't used to like to work on multiple projects at once. Yeah, I'm over that. So, I've got the Japanese quilt to work on, and now I'm working on one by Adam called the Jelly Roll Stars quilt, which is a purchase pattern from Adam Sew's site. It's a fairly simple and fast quilt, I think, to put together. Um, but I do like it and I think it'll be great. And it too could become maybe a gift or something. Actually, just thinking about it now, that quilt might also be a good one to make as a Christmas quilt. But I have discovered sadly that I thought I had a lot of Christmas fabrics. Well, I have a lot of bits and pieces. But as far as yardage is concerned, I'm a little low on that. So I'm waiting to see when the stores out my way are going to start getting in their Christmas fabric. Um, if they do, Christmas fabric is the same from one year to the next. There's very little I have found in the last few years that is really new. Um, and a lot of these stores kind of put their Christmas fabric away for the year until, we're getting into the time. Like this is the time now when Christmas fabric should be out because we need a good 6 months to get our projects together, don't we? Um, and the stuff they're putting out is what they had last year and the year before, which is very disheartening. I mean, it's nice fabric, but I'd like to see some new stuff. If someone could come up with something a little more modern and revolutionary, maybe, that really grabs my interest in Christmas fabric, I'd be really happy with something like that. But they haven't yet. So I will have to continue to look around for things. So let's see here. I'm just going back to the comment section. Oh, Sally is here. Good morning, Sally from Wyoming. And Diane Corday is here. Diana, good morning. Gloria is, I already said hello to Gloria, but she says it's coming along. I like the sashing. Thank you, Gloria. Dubrovka says blocks do look nice. Smart pick for sashing. Yeah, it's a little different, but this whole quilt's sort of a little different too. Christina says it's going to be a gorgeous Japan-inspired quilt. And Liz says, my very straight brother and his friend went to Toronto once. They had no idea what the rainbows meant until a bartender explained it. It was in June, so too fun. Yeah, those of us in the LGBT community, and now it's got about 1,000 other letters too. The latest ones are something like 2SL. It goes on for days. It's alphabet soup. Yeah, a lot of people, we take it for granted in our community that everybody knows what they stand for. Not necessarily. So that is why this coming Sunday on our live, we're going to kind of go through. There's more than one pride flag, as a matter of fact, and there's all those long initials and what do they mean? They're very confusing. So we're going to kind of talk about that on the live as well to educate people about all of that stuff. So yeah, so I hope you can tune in on Sunday at 4 p.m. for Stephen and Walter Live. And when we do that, amongst other things we'll be talking about. Okay, so as I said, tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter, I'll talk about Adam's quilt that I'm working on, and I'll talk about the Christmas table runner. And guess what? I want to make another quilt of valor, and I just ordered some more fabric, and it all came in, and I'll be showing that on Idiot Quilter tomorrow. And yeah, do I need another project? No. And then guess what's haunting me in the background, or in the back, maybe not the background, but there and behind everything. Yeah, the Art East quilt, second star from the right. Yeah, cut. So you've been here for a while, gorgeous quilt when it's done, but you got to get it done. And I really feel an awful lot of pressure to keep up with the block of the month. But I'm really not looking forward to the cutting. And I got to work on, I'm up to date. Technically speaking, the fourth chapter of this quilt hasn't started yet because it starts July 1st. And that's not Wednesday, that's Wednesday. But I've got to get cutting. So I'm hoping today, I've got a couple of things I want to try and accomplish today. and they involve different projects. And I'm going to try this for a while. I'm going to try to work a little bit every day on each project, sort of, and get a little done on that. I don't know how that's going to work out. I have a feeling it won't. So I might just go with the flow. You know, if I get a little bored with what I'm doing on one project, turn my attention to another project. Keep it fresh, I guess. We shall see how that works out. So, yeah. Anyways, what else did I want to show you in this segment? Yeah, that's about it. So I want to turn to comments for last week's episode. Now, tomorrow on the Quilter, I'm going to talk about comments. And I hope I don't ruffle some people's feathers tomorrow when I talk about the types of comments. There is definitely, you can classify the comments that I see here on my channel under different categories. Some aren't that flattering. Yeah, so I want to be careful that I don't insult anybody and nobody takes it, you know, personally, because I'm not picking on anybody. They're just an observation. But that's for tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter. I'm a tease, I know. But anyways, some comments from this or last week's episode that I would like to address. And these comments don't come just from Monday Morning Coffee with Stephen. It's from all the various things I put up in a week. Now, this one comes from Arda, and Arda says, did you know that Christy Nome is working for a mining company in Canada? What are Canadians doing? Well, you probably know, I'm sure, who Christy Nome was. She was in, you know, Trump's, I don't know, cabinet, for lack of a better name. She was something to do with immigration. She's the one riding around on, yeah, having pictures taken of herself on a horse with her cowboy hat on. I think she might be from Texas, not sure. Looks like she's had a lot of Botox in her lips as well. And she's just, oh, how do you put it mildly? She's a bitch. Yeah, just a piece of work. Well, he kind of got rid of her. And suddenly she has reared her ugly head in our country with a company out in BC, a little mining company called Nova Red. Now, I didn't know anything about this until Arda had written this comment, so I did some research. Sure enough, she was hired to be on their board or something to do with the company. And going, oh my God, a Canadian company hiring this lunatic in this time, like that's nuts. Then I did further research and found out that actually Nova Red Mining is not a Canadian company. They're an American company. Their CEO comes from Arizona, I think. So that would make sense why they hired an American. I mean, not very good choice of people for it, regardless of whether they were American or Canadian. But this was not taken lightly. There is a, I don't know, you may have seen it on YouTube. There is a sort of one of those news programs or what do you call it? Content creators called Minus Touch or something like that, Minus Media, something like that. I watch them on occasion. They're definitely anti-Trump and all of that, which is all fine and dandy. I think, though, they originate from the States, but they do have a Canadian branch. Well, apparently they rallied the troops, so to speak, the Canadian subscribers to that channel, and they've been bombarding this company with letters of complaint and all kinds of things about what are they doing, this Christy Nome. They've had such bad publicity that I think, don't quote me on this, last I heard, I think they were either thinking of getting rid of her or they did get rid of her, one or the other. But you know, stupid move to make in this political climate, really. You know, what were they thinking? Obviously, they weren't thinking. And you know, that is very much, and if I digress here for a little bit, and I'm going to, this is very typical of American companies that come to Canada. We have seen this before. They think because they're successful in the United States, and I'm using as an example, well, fast food places like Olive Garden. It's not really fast food, but what kind of food is it really? Um, you know, we had one up here for a while. I love their breadsticks and their soup, but everything else about it kind of sucked. Um, and they had different ones come up here, and then they've had things like Target, or as we like to call it in Canada, Target. Didn't do well. They usually come up, these companies, and think that we're exactly like Americans, that our habits, our eating habits, our style habits, our buying habits are the same as Americans. So if they're successful in the States, they should be successful here. Doesn't work that way at all. We are different, and you need to do your research before you come to this company as a corporation. And it seems to me that that's exactly what this Nova Red mining company was doing too. They thought we wouldn't notice. Somebody like her, like Gnome, really? Come on, where's your head at? But anyways, so yeah, maybe they've learned a lesson. Don't screw with Canadians. As I've said before, to use an American expression, we have a, was it a short, no, now I can't even think of it. We speak softly, but we carry a big stick. Yeah. Let's see, a few more people have joined us while I was ranting away. Let's see. Oh, Liz said, I almost spit out my coffee when you said you were a tease. Well, I meant I was teasing you. I didn't say I was a tease. Jeannie's here. Hi, Jeannie. And Joan is here as well. Good morning, Joan. So let's see here. This other comment is a two-part comment because I answered this comment. And I've had other people ask this in the past before too, especially newer people that have stumbled upon my channel. Oh, Faith's here. And hi, Faith. Puppy comes first, she says. Faith has a new puppy, and he's a little cutie. Caldorian is the name. Caldorian Alpha 9319. Anyway, says, hello, Stephen. I've been following your channel for years now. I have noticed that many YouTube creators with quilting content sometimes will have a sew day on YouTube that is also recorded for audiences to watch later. No Zoom for some of those sew together days. No Zoom for some of those sew together days. I'm not sure what that means. I was wondering if that idea was in your agenda. It seems to increase their numbers in subscribers. Well, I have had other people ask me why I don't do the sew days as a YouTube live. Well, there's several reasons for that. I tried it once and I did record it. And a sew day lasts for hours and hours. And you have that up, the re-recorded version of it, for those that couldn't make it. It's, in my opinion, maybe you differ in it, but to me, watching other people sew, when you're not really part of it, is like watching paint dry. It's just boring. So I think I did that once and I never did it again. Also, some people, they don't mind being on a Zoom because a Zoom is more private. But if you're going to record a YouTube live, like doing a sew day, some people don't want to be seen on screen, and I get that. So that's another reason why I don't do it. The other reason I don't do it is I wouldn't get any sewing done, because right now as we're doing this, I'm looking at the comments as I do this. I wouldn't be able to sew and look at the comments and everything at the same time. So it just makes it all technically a bit of a challenge to do it. So that's why I don't do my sew days as a YouTube live. And I admire those people that do. There's lots of sew alongs and things like that on there. Personally, I don't watch sew alongs either, usually, because I'm not working on the same project. So again, for me, it's like watching paint dry. And I have to admit that sometimes the conversation that's happening on sew alongs is a little bit one-sided. It's usually the content creator or the host of it that's doing all the talking, because if they have special guests come on for sew along, there's not a lot of chatter. People are concentrating on their sewing. So, to each his own. Some people love that kind of thing, and that's okay. Different strokes for different folks, right? More coffee. But she also then, and that's kind of what I explained to her in my comment back, but she did write, I got your point. Yes, I'm well aware of all the Zooms you produce regularly. I was thinking of a way to help with your subscriber numbers. YouTube is being recorded, but nobody's faces are shown on Recorded Live. Well, that's true if you don't set it up as the content creator. Like if you just set it up like this, so the only person on camera is the content creator. But there is a way to set it up so that other people have a link come in, and it's like a Zoom, but it's broadcast on YouTube. And so their faces are shown. We get a good view of what the creator is working on. We can only see the questions and comments on the content if the creator chooses to do so. If not, he will read the comments out loud and go on the subject being raised. Yeah, and that's what I was saying. And the problem there is then it becomes very difficult for the content creator to concentrate on their own sewing. Too much going on there as well. So that's basically why I don't do it. And I thought this was a good comment because I've had other people periodically ask me the same question. Well, now you know the answer to that. Okay, so that was about the only comments I wanted to highlight this week. So let's take a look at what's been happening at home and elsewhere. So on the political scene, well, this isn't really, well, it could be political, but this is something that I'm excited about. Eurovision entry eligibility. Canada is now eligible to participate in the popular Eurovision Song Contest. If you are not familiar with Eurovision, it is a song contest that's been going on for, back, I think it started in the late 50s in Europe. And there are many European countries that are part of this competition. And over the years, it's become a major production. You can see it on YouTube this past years and some of the other years as well. ABBA got their start on Eurovision because they won Eurovision as the representatives of Sweden in 1974 with Waterloo. And of course, I'm a big fan of ABBA, always have been. So when I first discovered Eurovision several years ago, I was just so fascinated with it because there's such a variety of music, and the staging and the lighting and the technology that they use. It's a wonderful show. I mean, I think it would be something to be able to go and see it live. But Canada has never been in it because we're not part of the Eurovision group or family, whatever. But apparently, we are now eligible to be that. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting to see if we have any entries from our Canada into next year's Eurovision then. I think it costs quite a bit of money. You need, whoever's going to be in it has to be sponsored by somebody. But it's nice to see that Eurovision is putting it out there for other countries outside of the EU. I mean, England's involved, Ireland's involved, the Scandinavian countries, some of them are involved, and even Australia is involved as well. So, yeah, I think that's great that Canada is part of it as well. So, big controversy in Canada, not earth-shattering on the world scene, but the residence of the Prime Minister, every country has their official residence. I mean, the United States has the White House, the UK has 10 Downing Street, all that kind of stuff. Well, we have 24 Sussex Drive. And the official residence of the Prime Minister is really old. It was built in the 1860s. It is marked as a historical, heritage site, and it's falling apart. And it has been for years. So much so that neither Justin Trudeau, our last Prime Minister, nor our current Prime Minister live there anymore because it's unlivable. It is full of asbestos. It's full of vermin. They are basically stripping it down to the studs. and building it from the inside out again. And it's going to take years and a lot of money. So, of course, it's controversial because of the money. And the opposition party, they're all against, doing this, that the Liberals, the party that's in control right now, in power, is wasting taxpayer money on it. Well, they're not using taxpayer money on it. Mark Carney, our prime minister, very clever man, he has put it out to gather some of the funds for it as a, what do you call it? Crowdfunding, one of those kind of things. But they're limiting how much, people can donate to this. And he's primarily going for corporations to put the money in as opposed to just the average taxpayer, which I think is great. But as he said, he will never live there. What he means by that is it's going to take so many years to do this that he probably won't be prime minister anymore, which kind of suggests he has a timeline for how long he wants to stay as leader of the party. Well, I hope he doesn't leave very soon because, in my opinion, he's great right now. We need him a lot. Let's see, a few people have joined in here. Faith says, oh, I see the Japan quilt in the background. Are the sashing going to stay? Yes, they are. Liz says, you are my favorite dancing queen. Okay, Liz. I get it. Let's see. Candace is here. Good morning, Candace. And Janet C. here as well from Connecticut, USA, in the house. Okay. Joanne G is here. She says, I agree with you regarding the YouTube sew-alongs. I really appreciate that you host the Zoom sew days as it allows me to interact with you and Walter and people throughout the world. And Randy is here as well, which is actually Sue, I think. I don't, maybe Randy's there with Sue. They live very near to me. They live in just a town or two away. Oh, Randy says, Sue says hi. Okay, so it is actually Randy on here as well. So, well, good morning. Yeah, back to Joanne's comment about the appreciating the hosted Zoom days. It allows her to interact with us. Yes, and yeah, it allows us to interact with people from all over. And we do have people from all over. We have people from Australia. Not that often, because when we're on, like on the sew days on Wednesdays, we start at 9 a.m. our time Eastern. Well, it is very early in the morning the next day in Australia. But I really appreciate it when, Australians come on, even if they can't stay all that long. It's nice that they're there. We have one person that comes from France. When she's not working, she still works. Nadine, you may have met Nadine on here before. Yeah, we have like Christine this morning. Christina is from Sweden. We have Jen is from Australia as well. Laurel is here. Good morning, Laurel. Laurel is actually Australian, but I'm not sure where Laurel is living right now. She moves around a lot. She's been in Hawaii. She's been in Texas. And let's see. Oh, Joanne G is in Brantford. So Brantford is in Ontario, my province, not a little west of Toronto. Not all that far, maybe an hour and a half, depending on the traffic, from where I live. So yeah, so we have lots of Canadians here too, which is good. So what was I going to say though about that comment about the sew-alongs? I love doing the sew-alongs. The one that we did when we first did the sewing with Stephen, I worked with another person at that time. No longer is that person involved. So it's just me, and I think we've been doing it. I've been doing it now for 3 years, maybe longer. I look forward to Wednesdays. Made some really good friends, though I've never met them in person, but they are still friends. And we get a lot done. We talk about everything under the sun. We have all kinds of weird conversations. So, and all are welcome. I say this all the time, but I really mean it. If you want to get together with some other people, you don't have to come when we start it up. at 9 o'clock. You can come in anytime during the day. We run from 9 to 4 Eastern time. Everybody's welcome. You will find the group is very, very supportive, very, very friendly. We love new people. It is not a clique. I do not like cliques. And yeah, it's just a really nice group of people. Oh, Laurel says she's in Texas right now. Okay. So anyways, back to what's coming, what's in our news. Alberta unity debate. Oh, this is so stupid. It is. I'm sorry. I mean, these idiots, and it's a very, very, very tiny little minority out in Alberta who are pushing this separatist idea. They want to break away from our country. They're idiots. Those ones that want to do that. They have so much to lose, majorly lose. They have no concept, these people that are pushing it, that getting out of Canada, first of all, breaking away from Confederation, that's our unifying body for our country, is next near to impossible because of the way the laws work, the way the Constitution works, the way Confederation works, all that kind of stuff. And second of all, they lose a lot of their infrastructure if they broke away as a separate country. It's just idiots stirring a pot. They are not leaving. No. And the vast majority of Albertans are not for the separatists. So, yeah. But every time it says federal politicians are descending on the upcoming Calgary stampede as Prime Minister Carney continues to campaign heavily against Alberta's looming fall separatism referendum, calling it a dangerous bluff. Yeah, they're going to have this referendum, so they say, well, from what I understand, it's really not a full-fledged referendum. It's a referendum to have a referendum to see if people want to separate. It's stupid. It's just really stupid. Okay, so right now too, out in the prairies, Western Canada, they're having very severe weather, heavy storms, flooding, active tornado watches have swept across, it says, parts of Saskatchewan and Alberta. In Manitoba, they've got a fast-moving wildfire. Yeah. In Ontario, we have 2 seasons, construction and winter. Out west, it seems they have 2 seasons, construction and wildfires or severe weather. Is this all part of climate change? Many people say yes. The naysayers say no. I don't know. I really don't know what it is. I tend to think that, yes, climate change is a real thing. Okay, I agree with that. And we need to, get on with trying to overcome that. But also, weather has cycles. And, we've been recording the cycles of weather for many, many years. But we can't record 1,000 years cycle. A 5-year, 10-year, 20-year, 100-year. But, a millennium of it, who knows? Who knows? You can't predict the weather. But I feel really bad for the people out in the prairie provinces. I hope that if they need rain to fight the forest fires, they get the rain. I hope they don't get so much rain that they get flooded out. And, well, what can you say about tornadoes? Not something we used to get in Canada, or we didn't hear much about them. We got them on occasion, but yeah, it seems every year they're getting a little worse. And they say that the tornado, what do they call it? Tornado Valley or whatever, has been moving every year a little bit more towards, I guess, the northwest or that kind of thing. I don't know. Not a weatherman. And I don't play one on YouTube. It looks like Janet was here. She may have to leave, okay, which is fine. And Christina says, I agree. Sew days are fun and nice way to be able to talk and sew with like-minded people. Yeah, they are. Let's see. Oh, of course, there's that the whole Venezuela earthquakes that have devastated parts of Venezuela. And our federal government has announced that they've got a $5 million in emergency humanitarian funding to aid relief efforts in Venezuela following the catastrophic uh, twin earthquakes. Yeah. And you want to know something else about us as Canadians? We do. We're known for being there when other countries need help. We are peacekeepers, but we are also people who, our government comes to the aid of other countries. We don't leave them stranded. We do what we can do for them as well. And that makes me proud to be a Canadian that we do that. There are some who would complain that there goes our tax dollars to that. Well, we have to look after each other. And I don't think that's a bad use of our tax money at all. And now this one is just stupid, and it's here in my own home province of Ontario. Sorry if I'm going to step on the toes of those of you who like to fish. But, in Ontario and other places, you have to get a fishing license, right? That's just the way things do. You have to have a hunting license, you have to have a fishing license. I'm not a fisherman, I'm not a hunter, so I don't care. But to celebrate Canada Day week, the Ontario Ministry of Natural Resources announced that residents can fish completely license-free across the province from June the 27th to July the 5th. Wow. Yay. I don't know if that makes people who like to fish really, really happy or not. Maybe a lot of them already have their fishing license if they're avid fisher people. I don't know. But this is just another one of the stupid things that Ontario government spends money on that is of no consequence. It's a diversion that our Premier of Ontario, or as I like to call him, Trump in training, likes to do. He wastes money left and right. And then he'll throw out these little things like, probably a lot of people have forgotten this, but back a few years ago when he was running for office, one of his campaign things was $1 a beer. He put wine and beer into grocery stores, which, I wasn't all for that at the time, but now that it's there, sometimes it is convenient. But then he was trying to say you could get beer for $1 a beer. Yeah, how'd that work out? It didn't. You don't hear anything more about that. Yeah. Some of the breweries, the smaller breweries, tried it for a bit, but they were losing money because they're microbreweries. They don't, they can't do that. Their profit margin is very, very small to start with. So, yeah, he does stupid things like that. So this is just another stupid thing. Sorry if you're a fisherman person in Ontario. If this is an advantage to you, well, go for it. But I think it's dumb. Joan says Tornado Alley. Yeah, that's it. Tornado Alley. Okay, so that's what's been going on in the Canadian news. We don't have a lot of political stuff happening here because our parliament is now on summer holidays. So, they're not sitting there and trying to pass things. But at home here, well, we went to the Toronto Pride, but not to the Pride Day parade. That was yesterday, Sunday. We went in on Saturday because on the Saturday, the Gay Village, as they call it, there's one street in Toronto they call the Gay Village. It's called Church Street, and that's where all the gay bars and shops are. It's become more gentrified over the years now, so, everybody goes there to have a good time. But what they have done is they shut down the street, and there's all kinds of vendors and shops are open, and there's stage shows and beer tents and all that kind of stuff. So if we had gone on the Sunday, it would be like we'd be clawing over top of people. As it was on the Saturday, it was, well, we were there early enough that the crowds hadn't really started to pour in. In fact, they were still setting up some of the booths. And on Saturday, they had the Dyke March, which has no appeal to us since we are not ladies. But anyways, yeah. So I did do a short little video. I'm going to try to put it up for you right now to watch this. You may want to refresh your coffee. I think this runs about 8 minutes long. But it gives you kind of a sense of what we were seeing, what we were doing on Saturday. So I'm just going to try to get it up here, and I hope this is going to work. So switch my screen over. And by the way, today is going to be long, as usual, just so you know. Okay, let's see. Go back here, and let's hope this is... Okay, so we just got off the GO train. We're downtown Toronto. It's Pride weekend. Tomorrow is the Pride Parade. There's CN Tower. So we're heading up to the gay district, to the gay village, to see what's there. Usually there's lots of displays, vendors, things like that. It will be a zoo, no two ways about it. We could take the subway up to Wellesley, but it's a nice day, and it's not that far a walk from down here at Union Station, so we'll see what we see. So the one thing you'll see in Toronto all this weekend is, of course, we have lots of symbols out there for pride and whatnot. Our society supports it. Not like some societies in the world. You know who I'm talking about.
That building has a rainbow heart inside.
This building right in front of us with the clock tower, that's Old City Hall in Toronto. It's an iconic building, historically significant, and there's another rainbow symbol as in the form of a heart. Like I said, you'll see them everywhere here this month and this day. So as I said, this is Old City Hall. But right over here, this is it's not that new. It was built in about 1967, I think. But that's the main city hall for Toronto now. It's still very architecturally forward-thinking in many ways. So many of the major corporations, especially the banks, support the gay community, and at this time of the year, they're showing that support. They will have a contingency in the parade tomorrow, but here they've got the rainbow hearts and everything like that. Good business sense, you know. We have a lot of disposable income. Well, this is the outside of the Eaton Centre. We're going inside of it. It's the back end of it. But you see, you can't see the whole thing because they have all this construction stuff up here because they're building another subway system called the Ontario Line, and it's going down along here. So, but we're going inside, and you'll see what it's like inside. Another shot from another of the Old City Hall. These were, I think, originally the legislation buildings in Ontario. I think, maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe they weren't. I guess it's always been just City Hall. I guess that's true. Yeah. So, no. So we're inside the Eaton Centre right now. You can see they have a giant pride flag. This is called the Progressive Pride flag because it encompasses everybody except they don't have the big circle on it. So it's a bit dated.
Rainbow steps.
And they have rainbow steps down here. And yep, this is, if you come to Toronto, you'll want to come to the Eaton Centre. High-end stores, expensive, the whole bit. But it's right in the center of the downtown, pretty much. This is the main center. This is Times Square of Toronto. It used to be called the Dundas. What's it called?
Dundas Square, but it's Sankofa Square now.
Now it's, what's it called?
Sankofa.
Sankofa, yeah. It's named after natives or something because the name Dundas is associated with a colonist kind of a thing, and they've been trying to get rid of names and streets that were named after iffy people in history. Personally, it's history, you know? I don't know, but whatever. So right now we're on Yonge Street. This is the longest street in Canada. And right now most of it's under construction, which is not unusual. We have two seasons in Canada, in Ontario especially. We have winter and construction. And so that's why a lot of this stuff is being developed, being torn down, something new put up. It's always changing down here. And the buildings get taller. Okay, we are in the gay village, one end of it. It's all blocked off, of course, for pedestrians only this weekend. And from what I'm hearing, they're going to do this pretty much for the whole summer, at least part of it. There's all kinds of vendors along the way and whatnot. So we're going to go and explore, and we'll take you with us as we go down the street. And of course, along the way, there will be some eye candy. Or as we like to refer to the ones that are pushing around a kid in a stroller meat. What's that?
Doggy masks.
Oh, doggy masks. Oh, for the pup crowd. Yeah. And we're not talking about masks for your dog, okay? It's a whole different world down here. You may get a bit of an education, but we'll carry on. This is one of the few actual gay bars that still is in existence. At one time down the street, there were quite a few, but over the years, they have died out. This area has become a little bit more gentrified, so that means the breeders have moved in. And this is one of the last holdouts. They usually do drag shows here during the week and on the weekends, and it's a bar. And right across the street is another one called Sailors and Woodies. And these ones have been here for many, many, many years. We have been in them before. And Flash. Flash is if you want male strippers. You can go in there, and that's been here for quite a long time too. Yep, lots of things down in this area. One of the things that I cannot show you because you couldn't see it, it's the smell. And of course, Canada, cannabis is legal. So down here, there is a lot of cannabis in the air. You don't need to buy any, you just inhale. And you can get a bit of a buzz on, just like that. So remember I said that a lot of the corporations do sponsor things here. Well, this is a Royal Bank, major banking system here in Canada, major bank. And they're all painted up for Pride, all in the Pride colors. And I didn't get it on video, but there wasn't a naked guy coming down the street, and you will see that during Pride as well. There is not much, but there is a group of guys in Toronto called Totally Naked Toronto, and they're kind of naturalists, so they claim, but they will march in the parade and they will be bearing it all. So unfortunately, usually it's not the cute ones you get to see. Okay, so we are downtown Toronto. We're having lunch off the beaten track because every place down in the gay village was packed, which we suspected, but the prices we did not expect. Everything was inflated, like majorly. For a pitcher of beer, it was $50. For just your plain ordinary everyday beer, we're not talking something foreign.
Normally it'd be about 20. So.
Yeah, so we're here. I mean, here it's a little pricey too. It's $27 for a pitcher, but it's not $50.
Well, it's also for a premium one.
Yeah, it is a premium beer that we got with it. But anyways, this is where we are here at this. Okay, so it's a little later in the day right now, so you can see now. Okay, this is the Dyke Parade. They have it the day before the main gay parade the next day. And this is nothing like a gay parade. This is boring. I'm sorry, but boring. Okay, so that was our lovely day downtown for the Pride festivities before the parade, which happens tomorrow. There was lots of people there. You saw them. Ran into some people we knew. And yeah, then we went and had big beers and some nachos off the beaten path, so that someplace where they weren't charging $50 for a jug of beer.
Train on platforms C11 and 12 is your 1550 eastbound train headed to Durham College Oshawa, making all station stops.
Okay, so you know about that. So that's where we're on our way home. So yeah, you didn't get to see a whole lot. I didn't film a whole lot, but you got a taste, I guess. sorry, everybody. I put my microphone so there wouldn't be feedback on mute. So yeah, you'll get some sound in a second. Sorry about that. And thank you for letting me know. So hello. Sorry, everybody. There, okay, it's working now. My microphone so there wouldn't be feedback. I can hear it on my monitor for this. So yeah, what I was saying was the best way to get downtown Toronto is to take the GO train, the commuter train from out of our area. It's not that expensive. If you're a senior, you get for about half price. And if you were to drive your car in, well, first of all, everything's under construction in Toronto, so that's hard to get around. And then you have to find parking, which is at a premium and is going to cost you a premium price, you know, $30, $40 for the day or more. So really, public transit, if you're out in the burbs, is the best way to get into Toronto for that kind of thing. Plus, with the Pride Parade, 1.7 million on the pathway. But if you want to see it, YouTube has it. Just put in Toronto Pride 2026 and you can watch the parade on there. I think that video runs about 26 minutes, that whoever put that up, which is good because the parade goes on for days. And it's not what it used to be. It used to have floats and things that were corporate sponsored. Now, you know, that doesn't happen as much. So it's just a bunch of groups walking. Yeah. Some weird outfits. So, yeah. Okay, so I think we have fixed the sound problem. Yeah, there's a bit of a time delay for me and to you. So yeah, what you see. Okay, so let's see. That takes us, I just want to check to make sure you're getting sound. Yes, you are. Okay, that's good. Yeah, Judy says, how was your concert? Well, I'm going to come to that. But before I get to that, one thing that happened, and when we were on our way from the gay district down to where we had lunch, as you saw in the video, there was a young lady. Actually, she didn't look that young. She's probably in her late 30s or something like that. And of course, she was looking for money. And, you know, it's a big city. That happens. And your automatic reaction, my automatic reaction is, well, first of all, she says, do you have any spare change? Well, no, I really don't have any spare change because in Canada, here in Ontario, we are almost cashless. You do not need money, paper money, for anything or change. If you can use your credit card, you can use, you know, you tap on, tap off to get on the subway system. Yeah, you pay by credit card or debit card when you go to restaurants. So I never have any change anymore. And so I said to this young lady, I said, nope, sorry, I don't have any spare change. She reacted. Usually you just keep on walking. She turned around and says, oh yeah, sure. Something triggered in me. So I turned around and went, no, I actually don't. I said, I pay for everything with a credit card. Well, you can buy me some groceries. Okay. I hesitated for a second. Just, or like a gift card at the grocery store so I can get some groceries. I don't know what it was, but something clicked inside of me. And instead of ignoring her, I said, yes, I can do that. Where's the closest place to go? She says, one right down here. So I said, fine, let's go. I don't know if she was prepared for that. So off we went. We went down the street. As we were walking to the grocery store, I asked her, I said, so, you know, why don't you have a job? She says, I had one. I'm on unemployment or employment insurance and that. And I said, well, wait, if you're homeless, how can you, because you have to have an address to get, she says, I'm not homeless. She says, but my rent, by the time I'm finished paying for my rent, there's nothing left for food. That is true. That is true. That is something that, you know, I've been hearing a lot of right now. She was not dressed like a homeless person. You know, she was, you know, jeans and a t-shirt and a hat and everything like that. And I said to her, well, why don't you have a job? She says, I'm trying to get one. And I said, well, what kind of work do you want to do? She says, I'll do anything. I'll clean. I'll work in a fast food place. I'll do this and that. But she says, nobody will hire me. Now, I'm not sure why that was, but, and she said she had a job and she got, laid off or whatever from it all. So I thought, if you're giving me all these answers and it doesn't sound like you're made up. She looked like she was being very, very sincere. And she seemed also like somebody who was a very proud individual. And she really wasn't, not like your typical, I'm sorry to say, but your typical homeless on the street that, looks like probably if you give them any money, it's going to go towards drugs or booze. So we got to the grocery store. I went in. I got her a $25 gift certificate to buy groceries and gave it to her. I felt good about it, but I felt also like, well, if she is scamming me, she's damn good at it. But my good deed for the day, our good deed for the day, Walter and I. But I don't know what it was. It was just something that compelled me to help her out. And I can afford to do something like that. Years ago, when we used to go to Toronto, back in the days when we had a lot of change on us, there would be people on the street. And I always said to Walter, I want to take a roll of toonies or loonies. Those are $1 coins here for those of you who are not Canadian. And, as I come across one and, give them a loonie kind of a thing. I never did that. I guess I just never... I was always afraid that, yeah, well, I'm giving them that and maybe I'm contributing to the drug problem, but then again, they can't help that if they're addicted. I don't know. Anyways, I did that. So it was our good deed for the day, I guess. Okay, moving on. Okay, you asked about the girls' concert. I do have a picture here that I'm going to show you. Oh, and just before I do that, Diana Corday says, Yonge Street is also the longest street in the world. Yes, that's true too, Diana. It is. Let me see if I can find my picture here to show you. Where is it now? Oh, here we go. Okay. Okay, so these are our great nieces. To the far left is Claire, the oldest one. She's in high school, just finished grade 9, and she's in the performing arts school that we have out here in our area. Her sister is going into grade 8 next year. She plays, well, they all play a variety of instruments. Claire plays guitars, several different types. Don't ask me what they are, but they are. And a trumpet as well. And Brooke, the younger one, she plays bass guitar and also plays regular guitar. And she also plays something called the hurdy-gurdy, which she actually, I have a little bit of a video for it, but I didn't prepare it for this because, to be honest, the hurdy-gurdy kind of grinds on you. It's a medieval instrument. There's a guy in Quebec that makes them and other instruments, and he has a two-year waiting list, and she has come to master this device. It's kind of like a cross between a piano, a keyboard, and a guitar kind of a thing, and you crank it, but you press keys and stuff like that. And then that's their father, our nephew, Kenny, as well, and he plays guitar and other instruments as well. So it's a little family band. And our niece, which is Kenny's sister, she's now taken up the cello. So she played a little bit of cello as well. So it's always fun, and they're so talented. They're really great at it. So yeah, it was a great concert, and we had pizza, and I took some little gifts for the girls. I had a couple of duffel bags, the Holland duffel bag, if you know what that is. I had made these, and they're just hanging on a hook in the Lucy room, so I thought they might like those, and I made them a couple of keychains with musical notes and guitars on them, and one of those portfolios, which I had shown earlier last week in that I had been working on, to hold sheet music or whatever. So yeah, I usually take them every year when they concert some little gift as well. So yeah, so those are our great nieces. I have one other great niece, but she's a baby. Well, she's probably a year and a half old now, maybe 2 years old. And that's with my brother out in Abbotsford, BC. Uh, so I've never met Clara, is her name. I've only seen a picture of her. Okay, so let's see here. Let me get this off my screen so I can see what else you guys are seeing. Well, what's next? Okay, so highlights from last week. Then, or wait, no, we're not there yet. New. Okay, that was the concert. Oh, yeah. So, Walter finally made a strawberry rhubarb pie. And here it is. It only took him 3 days to get around to it. One day he made the dough and chilled it. And then we were off. I think he made it on Friday. On Saturday, we were gone all day into Toronto. Sunday, we were at the concert with the kids, for the kids. And so when we got home that night, he rolled out his pastry and baked the pie. So by the time the pie was baked, it was like about 9:30. I had gone to bed. So that's why right now we have not had a piece of it yet. But pie is my favorite food group. So yeah. Can't wait to have a slice of that later today. Walter's pies are always great. And yeah, so I said it's strawberry rhubarb. Oh, and then, okay, a little adventure here. We're going into our second hour now, if you've been keeping track. Thank you for staying with me for this time, keeping me amused. It's better than talking to myself. Okay, so let's see. Caroline says, it looks so yummy. Oh, it will be. Oh, and Joanne is here. Joanna. So good morning, Johanna. So let's see. What else I got? Oh yeah, had a little adventure this week in something that I ordered. Monfil is where I get all my stabilizers for my embroidery projects. They are a company in Quebec. You've heard me talk about them before. Great place for getting your stabilizers. Prices are really good. And customer service is excellent. Well, when my stabilizers arrived, they arrived in a little tiny box about this big. And I went, wait. I ordered a 100-yard roll of no-show mesh and 2 rolls of tearaway. They won't fit in that box. What's going on? They got the order mixed up. Wrong label. So I got somebody else's order and they got mine, I guess. And what their order was 4 bobbin cases for a long arm. So I contacted Johnny by email. Johnny is the owner of Monfil, and he must live with sleep on top of his computer, because within 2 minutes I had a message back from him, and he went, oh, he says, I'm so sorry, it all got mixed up, and he was getting very flustered with this. I guess his son does the shipping, and his son had just left on vacation and must have slapped the wrong labels on, so Johnny had to sort that out. So Johnny said to me, I'll send you a label to print out. If you can just slap that on that order, and he says, I'll arrange for Purolator, which is a courier system, to come and pick it up from you, and they'll get it delivered. In the meantime, he says, I'll contact the other person that may have gotten your order and have them do the same thing. But then right in the same email, Johnny is he's a really nice guy in that, but sometimes he gets very flustered. And so it's like he's talking out loud what he's thinking in his email. He says, oh wait, no, he says, I'm not sure where your order may have gone. I'll just send you a new order and get that done. He says, and I'll put it, on Express and all this kind of stuff. And I said, no problem. That's great. So he sent me the label. I labeled it. Purolator never showed up. He asked me to let him know when they'd shown up to get it, right? Because apparently this was also a rush order from a customer. So the pressure was on. Purolator never showed up that day. I let him know that. So he got on the phone to Purolator, what's going on here, had to print another shipping label and sent that to me. So I had to put another shipping label on it. And Purolator the next day did show up, and I gave that to them. I also got a day after that, I got my order from him. But in the meantime, he contacts me by phone, and the poor guy, he has a rental property. And he had new tenants coming in at the first of the month, but the old tenants left the place in destroyed. So yeah, that wasn't a good thing. So he was really flustered, and I says, Johnny, it's okay. As far as I'm concerned, I'm in no rush for the order. Take that off your plate. I'll get it when you send it. That is fine. So it all works out, but it was definitely, I have a feeling when his son gets back from his holidays, there's going to be words between Johnny and his son. So that was a little adventure this week as well. Oh, another Diana is here from Plymouth. Welcome, Diana. And Dana is here as well from Regina. Okay, so welcome. Let us move on, shall we, to what was the highlights of last week's videos? Well, I talked about all the filament that I bought last week on Good Monday Morning Coffee. Yeah, I might have a problem. You know, I'm kind of addicted to buying filament, like I was addicted to buying fabric. So yeah, talked a little bit about on the Idiot Quilter, the Japanese quilts evolution. On So Chatty, now we did something, and we're going to do something interesting today too with AI. We asked the AI to make us a pattern, a quilt pattern and a shirt pattern as well. AI is becoming very, very scary. I mean, in many ways, it's exciting as to what it can do. But on the other hand, I'm beginning to think AI could take over the world. And that's kind of scary. And I'm kind of being serious about that as well. So, you know, I'm glad to see our Canadian government is starting to get involved with making, you know, regulations to regulate AI. And hopefully other places in the world are doing the same. But you know, yeah, it is a very scary thing. Wild Rose is here. Hello, Wild Rose. So let's move on, shall we? And of course, we didn't have anything on Stephen and Walter Live because we were at the concert and we explained all that. So coming events, we've got the usual Sewing with Me on Wednesdays. That's coming up this week as usual. Links in the show notes. And Vance notice, we are going to have another pop-up sew day, but this is a special one. I have it every year. It falls close to my birthday. It's my Stephen's Birthday Bash pop-up sew day, and that will be on Saturday, July the 11th. There will be a Zoom link for that, not in the show notes for this today, but come the week before, the few days before that date, the link will be there. And at this pop-up sew day, which makes it a little bit more special than usual, there will be prizes. A few, not a lot, but there will be prizes as well. Now, don't worry, this isn't like one of my retreats. You do not have to register for this. It's come and go as you please, all that kind of thing. So, and I know this is also, if the weather's nice, you know, in your part of the world, you may not want to be trapped, so to speak, indoors on a Saturday sewing. So, you know, up to you. But come celebrate my birthday. And I know there are other birthdays in July as well from subscribers, but I don't care. It's all about me. It is. Yeah. So yeah, hope to see lots of people for that. But as I said, the link for it will be in the show notes, just the few days before in any of the videos I make just before July the 11th. Okay, so talking about the weather, let's go and check out the weather cam. And this is from the front door of my house. I'm just pulling it up here. It's taking a minute to activate the live view. There we go. So this is what the day is looking like right now as we speak. And it looks nice. Nice and sunny. Everything is, you know, nice and green, and the flowers are out in our pots. It looks really nice. And the current temperature right now is 22 degrees C, which is in Fahrenheit approximately 74 degrees, 75 degrees, which is very comfortable. But it is going to get hotter because the high today is 27. But it looks like, according to the weather on my phone, it looks like we are in for a lot of hot weather this week. Today's the coolest day of the week with a high of 27, but tomorrow we're shooting up to 31 degrees Celsius, which is about 90 Fahrenheit, with a 55% chance of thunderstorms. Okay, Wednesday it's shooting to 34 Celsius and 35% chance of thunderstorms. Thursday, 34, thunderstorms again. Friday, 32. Ooh, it cooled off by 2 degrees. Thunderstorms again. Saturday, thunderstorms again, 31 degrees C. Then it's cooling down slightly. On Sunday, 26 degrees, 40% chance of thunderstorms. And Monday, thunderstorms, 25 degrees Celsius. So yeah, a lot of thunderstorms in the forecast, but that does happen when you have extreme heat as well. And I don't know if those are isolated. I don't know if it's going to be probably isolated around. Thunderstorms do tend to be that way. So we'll just have to see it. I, for one, do not mind the really hot weather, but you don't want it for too long. Like over in Europe right now, they are burning up for sure on that. And out in the western provinces, they're quite warm too, and with severe weather as well. So yeah, but you know, we only have summer for about 2 months here in my area. Then it'll get cold again, and we're about to enter July. So yeah, July, August, and then September, and then temperatures will plummet. Maybe. We'll see. Can't predict the weather. Okay, so let's talk about, let me take this off the screen that I'm looking at the moment. And let's go back. So many buttons. So many buttons. I need a co-producer. Well, that would be Walter, but he'd be useless. Okay, why can't I find the button I want? Speaking of useless. Oh, okay, right here in front of me. Yeah, so let's see. We've got some comments. Dana says, good mother. What did I miss? I'm not sure what good mother stands for. Maybe you're talking about Walter and his pie. Mommy made pie. Yeah. Mona's here. Hi, Mona. Dubrovka says, pie for breakfast would be delicious. Yes, it would be. Yes, it would be, for sure. Jen says the pastry looks so yummy. Yeah, Walter makes excellent pastry. Let's see. Just checking. Oh, Charlotte's here. Hello, Charlotte. Dubrovka says 20 degrees C now, afternoon 30 degrees C in Timmins. And yeah, Timmins is, it seems to be warmer now. We always associate Timmins. Timmins is very far north from where I live in northern Ontario. And it's always, well, I shouldn't say always. You always expect it to be a little bit cooler, but last little while, it's been sometimes warmer than us down here. So, okay. So let's talk about the garden and what's growing. And I just have to find my pictures here to show you what's happening outside. Okay, first of all, let's talk about inside with the grow lights, shall we? Okay, we don't have anything growing under grow light 1 or grow light 2. Walter says he's going to seed some things in there for future development. This is what I always refer to as the jungle, grow light number 3. Most of the stuff that was under here before he has put out on the deck, and it's all doing really well. But he's got some things started here. There's still some tomato plants under here that will probably stay indoors. There's some pepper plants coming, and I think a couple of these might be a bean plant. So I don't know if he's going to leave the bean plant indoors or take that outside. We have some bean plants outside in our container garden. I said to Walter, maybe we should leave one under the lights and see what happens as an experiment, how well it would do under there. Be kind of nice if we could have beans, you know, during the winter time from under the grow lights. So here's outside. These are our strawberry plants. These are everberry ones, so they will, throughout the summer months, are supposed to continuously produce berries. I don't think the berries get very big on those. We've already had a few off them. They taste really good. But I think this is the kind of thing that we'll probably never get this year enough off of this to make a pie. So these will be kind of a thing we will pick and maybe throw in a salad, or, you know, little ice cream on them or whatever. These are some pepper plants and they're doing well. These are tomatoes. They're doing well. You may wonder about the little windmills. Well, those are good to keep the birds away from the strawberry plants because they reflect light and when they spin, and keeps them from eating our berries. I don't know if it'll work on squirrels. The squirrels haven't discovered the garden yet. They probably will. Chipmunks are the worst. They get up there and they love the tomatoes. Little buggers take one bite of a tomato and then put the rest of it on top of the banner or banister of the deck, just to let us know they were there. Little squirrels. And here's the whole kit and caboodle, all our plants. This is, I call it the pepper tree. This, with the dark peppers, those are starting to turn green, but they come out sort of a dark, almost black color at first. And this plant is old. We've had it for quite a while. And it's been under the lights. It came from outdoors, went under the lights. We're not going to do that again. We're not going to bring any of the plants inside under the lights at the end of the season because they bring in bugs with it. And then we have those stupid little gnats all over the place. And, you know, we do things to try and get rid of them, but there's always a gnat somewhere. So, yeah. But I would like to bring it. I want to see what's going to happen with it over the winter time. And I wonder if it'll come back up next year. So that's an experiment. Oops, went that way, wrong way. No, there, it's a little more close up. Our basil's doing really well. Walter has it sitting sort of under here to keep it more into the shade because basil doesn't seem to like direct sunlight for any length of time. The leaves go funny. So this is the theory we're dealing with right now on that. More tomatoes. We have tons and tons of tomatoes. And these are cucumbers over here. And we're letting them climb up the lattice. We did that last year. And we got quite a few cucumbers off it last year. Little late starting this year because the spring has been kind of cool. So everything is starting a little bit later. And this is a bean plant. And we do have some hot chilies. There's a hot chili up here, and there's some jalapenos as well somewhere around here. Another shot of the cucumbers coming along. And this, of course, is chives. We do nothing with it. It comes up every year. It sits out on the deck all year long. It gets frozen, covered in snow in the winter. And then in the spring, it all comes back up again. So yeah, the garden is coming along really nicely. And Walter, I don't know if if you notice these little lights here. This is new. These are Govee lights, and they change colors and everything, and you can operate them from your phone. And so we've added those on top of the rope light that we've had for years out here. So it's nice on a summer's evening to sit outdoors and enjoy our garden. So what's next? That's the plants. What else? Okay, we're moving into the 3D printing here. And so let me just find a picture for you. Here we go. So I mentioned for the girls, for our great nieces, that we'd given them a duffel bags that I had made, the Holland duffel, and the portfolios. And I also made them some keychains with a musical theme. And this is what those looked like. And so there's a guitar pick sort of a thing, and a music note. And these have cellos on them as opposed to guitars. And is that the only picture I got? I guess so. I didn't take a picture. I guess I thought I had one. I made them little boxes to hold picks on. I didn't know. I figured they probably already had something. Apparently they did not. I gave their father one as well. And so, yeah, so that made me happy that they hadn't already had something like that. And they seemed to think that that was a great thing. So more 3D prints. So that's all that I've been making some other things, but you'll see them on a future video on the 3D printer. And let's see, just checking, catching up on the comments here. Just put that down. Jen says we're very wet here in the Quokka country. Quokkas, I love them. They're my favorite little animals, Australian animals. Look them up on YouTube. You'll see what I mean. Dana says, should be a good morning. That's good to know. Heat is killing off our mosquitoes. It's a good thing. Yes. Walter's a mosquito magnet. You do not need to wear repellent if you're sitting near Walter, because they all go for him and they leave you alone. And I'm telling you, and he welts up. So we have these little electric things. Well, they're actually not electric. They're butane or something you put into them, and a little type of burner. We got them on Crappy Tire, and they work like a charm. They keep the mosquitoes at bay. They're better than those mosquito coils. I never thought the mosquito coils ever worked very much. I think they were more psychological than anything else. But these things, I don't know what they're called, but we got them at Canadian Tire. They still sell them, and they are great. Oh, thank you, Charlotte. She loves seeing the deck garden. And, okay, so I was talking about AI and how on So Chatty this week we used AI like ChatGPT and that to see if we could have it create a pattern for a quilt or one for a shirt and everything like that. Well, then I got thinking about, what about talking to the AI? Because most of us have smart devices in our home. A lot of us have Amazon or Google Home or whatever they call it. And of course, I have my Echo down here that controls everything in this room by commands. Right now I have Echo turned off because when it hears its name, it'll talk to me. That's a little annoying. So right now I just have it shut off because I had a conversation with AI. Now, you may need a refill of your coffee at this point. I need a sip. Because I questioned the AI about 3D printing technology and where it is going today. And it's like you're having a conversation with a person. Now, for the sake of today, I actually pre-recorded this because I didn't know if things were going to let me down during a live. So that's what I'm going to put up here now. And yeah, so here is my conversation about 3D printing with my Echo. Echo, good morning.
Okay.
Echo, can we have a conversation about 3D printing?
Absolutely. 3D printing is a fascinating topic. It's basically building objects layer by layer from digital designs. You start with a 3D model, then the printer adds material one thin slice at a time until your object takes shape. It's like magic. You can make anything from simple toys to complex machine parts, all from your own printer.
Echo, can you give me a more detailed description of the 3D printing process?
3D printing builds objects layer by layer from digital designs. It starts with a 3D model that gets sliced into thousands of thin layers. Then the printer adds material precisely where needed. Think of it like building with tiny Lego bricks. You can print anything from simple toys to complex machine parts, using materials like plastics, metals, or even food.
Echo, what does it cost to get started in 3D printing?
To get started in 3D printing in 2026, you're looking at about $150 to $1,000 for a credible entry-level printer, plus $20 to $30 per kilogram for basic PLA filament. For a complete setup, you'll need about $20 to $50 per month for materials and electricity, plus some budget for maintenance supplies.
Echo, what are the benefits of 3D printing?
3D printing offers some pretty amazing benefits. It lets you create complex designs that would be impossible with traditional manufacturing, and you can make custom parts on demand without expensive tooling. Plus, it's great for rapid prototyping. You can go from digital design to physical object in just hours, making it perfect for testing and iterating your ideas quickly.
Echo, what are the disadvantages of 3D printing?
3D printing has some drawbacks you should know about. It uses significantly more energy than traditional manufacturing, about 50 to 100 times more for plastic printing. The technology is still expensive, with industrial printers costing tens of thousands of dollars. You'll also face material limitations, size constraints, and need extensive post-processing for most prints.
Echo, is 3D printing hazardous to one's health?
Yes, 3D printing can pose some health risks. The main concerns are ultrafine particles and volatile organic compounds released during printing, which can cause respiratory irritation and other health effects. There's also potential for skin and eye hazards from lasers in some printers, and minor injury risks from moving parts. However, proper ventilation and safety measures can significantly reduce these risks.
Echo, is 3D printing hazardous to the environment?
Yes, 3D printing can be hazardous to the environment. It uses plastics derived from fossil fuels, consumes significant energy, and releases emissions during printing. However, its environmental impact varies based on materials, energy sources, and design optimization.
Echo, is it possible to recycle used filament?
Yes, you can definitely recycle used 3D printing filament. You'll need a shredder to break down old prints and an extruder to reform the material into new filament. Common materials like PLA, PT, ABS, and nylon work best for recycling.
Echo, what is the future applications for 3D printing?
The future of 3D printing is absolutely mind-blowing. We're talking about everything from printing entire homes in just days to creating custom medical implants and even aerospace components that are 70% lighter than traditional parts. The technology's moving from prototyping to actual production, with predictions showing the market could hit $44 billion by the end of this year alone.
Okay, so that was a conversation with my Echo about 3D printing. Kind of scary, isn't it? Well, I said that on So Chatty this past week, we looked at AI in sort of the written form. Okay. So we're going to with my Echo about I just have to turn this down. We're going to actually have a conversation about quilting and sewing with my Echo again this week, and that we're going to do live. Well, not live, it'll be pre-recorded for you, but I will do it as we are pre-recording. I'm sorry, I was talking about those little gnats. Well, one's just crawling across my papers. Yeah, okay. So anyways, I just thought that was kind of interesting to show you how you can use your smart device for it. It is scary. And you can sit down and have a conversation on any topic with it. And you can actually sit down and have a conversation with it. I tried it as therapy. Like I was pretending there was something wrong with me, mentally, as in I was feeling depressed or something like that. Oh, that was a scary conversation too. Yeah, I've been having a lot of fun playing with it. Okay, so Dubrovka says, if you want to bring your plants in from outside, spray them with a mixture of water and a bit of dish soap. Spray 2 to 3 times and then bring in. You can even spray the ones already in the house. That's a good idea. Yeah, might have to try that. I'll suggest that to Walter. He'll probably poo-pah it. Because if it isn't his idea, he does that. Mona says, I know someone who just had a knee implant that was made by 3D printer. Yes, they are using 3D printers for medical purposes a lot. They actually have ones that can make skin. Like, yeah, it's kind of scary. It's different than from what I do, of course. But yeah, it is the way of, it's not the future. It is happening now. It is happening now. Okay, so something else that's happening now that I find somewhat disturbing. And so take small children out of the room at this point. And I'm going to show you what is disturbing me. This is YouTube. YouTube has a whole lot of restrictions for YouTube content creators. You're not supposed to have a lot of swearing in it. You can't have copyrighted material in it, like music, things like that. You're not supposed to say anything that be considered like a hate crime. Well, I agree with that. Or, even certain political things it doesn't like and it's trying to censor. Well, okay, one of the things that they say is they don't want nudity. Okay, well, I get that, but I have come across, not looking for them, they popped up in my feed and I don't know why. And I went to one of the sites that pops up as a regular, like, short videos on YouTube. And, well, this is something that I find a little disturbing. And it's this. It's called Selfie Guys DNA. And there is all of these pictures of various guys with most of their clothes off. And I have not yet figured out what's going on here, why these are on YouTube. Well, some of these guys are kind of advertising for their services as personal trainers. But I have a feeling they have other services as well. And some of them are advertising their for fans only channels. And if you don't know what for fans only is, they're basically paid sites for, how do I put it? For, oh shit, it's pornography. But, that kind of stuff. And YouTube has this whole thing about nudity and whatnot on here, and yet they allow this. And these guys parade around basically in their underwear and wet bathing suits and all that kind of stuff. Now, the reason I find this somewhat disturbing is because children do come on to YouTube. And they have a restriction. You're supposed to say that your video is not meant for children. Mine are all done like that because, kids aren't going to be interested in the content I have anyways, and so I don't need children on here with that. But also because some topics I talk about are not really children friendly, like this one right now. But why are they allowing this? The only thing I can think of is they're allowing it because they're making dollars from advertising, because that's what YouTube's all about as far as Google is concerned, because Google owns YouTube. But it's basically almost soft pornography. And I think this is really doing an injustice for young men, for young boys, teenage boys, because they're showing body images of guys that are very, very fit. And young guys are subject to that kind of thing. They want to look that way. So like girls, we always think about girls and body image for girls and how they're affected by what they see in the media. And so it can lead to health risks, anorexia, bulimia, all that kind of stuff. Well, the same can be said for boys too, that they have this. So really, I don't think this should be allowed on YouTube for the damage that it could cause to young people. Now, I don't know, maybe this particular website that's been put up here, or YouTube channel has been put up here, maybe it has clicked the button for not suitable for children so that kids can't get into it. I don't know. I kind of doubt it because, again, they're all interested in making money for these kind of things. So, yeah. But anyways, and don't think that they don't have it for the ladies as well, because yes, although I haven't found a spot, well, I haven't been looking for it that deeply, but I just put in hot girls, and this is what came up. Okay, first picture. Yeah, this one, yeah, I don't know. Again, you know, these kind of things, no, we don't need them. That's enough of that. That, again, to me is pornography, soft porn. Shouldn't be allowed. Shouldn't be allowed. So I think this is one time when I think censorship on YouTube would be a really good thing. Now let's see, what anybody else? Love the deck garden, Gloria says. And Diana loves strawberry rhubarb pie. I love any kind of pie. It is a food group for me. Yeah. So anyways, I think that brings me to the end of things today. Thank you for joining me for the live, because without you, I'd be talking to myself. Well, I do that a lot anyways. Answer too. Of course, I always have Echo to talk to if I get lonely. Yeah. Oh yeah, and there's Walter too. So tune in tomorrow for the Idiot Quilter, and on Friday, So Chatty. And of course, we're back, Stephen and Walter live on Sunday at our usual time, 4 p.m. Eastern. So that's all back on. If you can join me for the So Day on Wednesday, please do. You're more than welcome. Come and go as you please. Okay, I hope everybody has a really great week. Enjoy the nice weather if you're having nice weather in your area. And we'll see you on future video.